This is your guy Manny, and this is the Back Row Redskins show. So, guys, we have a lot to talk about on this episode today, but I promise you guys this is going to be a short episode. I'm going to get right on into it. So, one of the biggest news this week was Julie Donaldson being promoted or hired as the senior vice president of media. So, she's going to put together her team, and I don't really know too much of what the media role is going to be. I know she was doing some work with NBCS, and now she's doing media for Washington. And it's amazing that she accepted this job after all the mess that has happened to women in the organization. So, things are definitely going in the right direction for this franchise, being that last week was just so terrible news, things that happened to women, the Washington Post article that came out. And then now we have hired a new lady to come in and do some media work for us. Anybody who knows Julie Donaldson knows that she's just an awesome individual. She's always happy. She brings a lot of energy. She loves her job. So she's a great addition to the franchise. I think that she's going to really bring a different type of joy to the Redskins. The Washington organization. But I really like the hire, and I'm excited to see what she does. The Redskins also hired Terry Bateman as the chief marketing officer. And it's funny. Well, it's not funny, but it's amazing how he gets hired. I went to Twitter and I was like, hey, what do you guys think of this new hire? Everybody was telling me Terry Bateman is not a new hire. He has worked with Dan in the past. A lot of guys didn't like him. They compare him to Bruce Allen. I don't know a lot about Terry Bateman, but people say that he's another one of Dan Snyder's yes man. He does whatever that Snyder tells him to do. People were mad because Snyder's hiring a friend. But that's what people do. If you came up, you would want your friends to come up as well. If you was in a position to hire your friends, you bring them on if they're qualified for the job. And some others that I'm talking to, they say Terry Bateman is qualified for the job. And it's funny how he gets hired, and then shortly after that, guess what? We now have a new team name. The Washington football team. I've been getting a lot of texts. People have been blowing me up. People are clowning us. LeBron James was clowning us today. But for me, if you guys have listened to the previous episodes, I've said I'm not too worried about what the name is going to be. I just want the color to remain the same. And Terry was very instrumental in making sure that the burgundy and gold stays. Now, we have new uniforms. Everybody's been crying for new uniforms. We now finally get some new uniforms. They're fire. One of the key components of our uniform is that the numbers are on the helmet. So it looks kind of like the Alabama football team's helmet. So if that's going to cause us to play better, I'm all for it, man. If we can bring some of that Alabama grit, some of that Alabama championship pedigree and winning mentality, I'm all for it. But I don't think that the uniform is going to affect how we play one way or the other. But I do like the uniforms. It is nice. I see us probably using this name for maybe this season, which they said that we're not going to get a new name until the 2020 season is over. So if you guys follow me on social media, you'll see that I've been saying that the Redskins should take their time, make a decision, and get it right. Because what's the point of being rushed to rebrand? You get a team, you got to change everything within less than a month, because the word was before training camp starts, we're going to have a new name. Okay. but they never said that it was not going to be a temp name. So the Washington Football Club, that's the name. The logo is a big old W. That's burgundy. I've seen a picture of the field where it has the Washington football team established in 1932. So that's what we're going to roll with. And like I said, the jerseys are fire. The jerseys are fresh. I'm actually going to get a Chase Young burgundy jersey and a Terry McLaurin white and burgundy jersey. So I'm excited about that. On the top of the jersey, right underneath the NFL logo, it says Washington. So in a way, I look at it as, an extension of the Redskins brand, the Redskins history. And keeping our colors ties the history together. When we watch the Washington football team this up and coming season, it's still going to feel like the Redskins. Just imagine if they changed the colors to something else. That would have been crazy. But I'm glad that we're keeping the colors. And like I said, it's going to tie everything together for us. I've been seeing a lot of people mad saying this is dumb. I've been seeing the people that were pulling for the Red Wolves. That's not out the question. But who knows what the name is going to be after this season. So merchandise, they're going to make money with this new merchandise. Why not? It only makes sense. Anybody who has these jerseys, these new jerseys, is going to be a collector, a collector's item, because, if this only lasts for a year, then we just have some cool new uniforms that we've been looking for. And, it'll be something that bridged us from the old name Redskins to what the new name is going to be. So it's pretty cool. Like I said, I love the new unis. I'm going to cop at least 2 jerseys. And then, so all in all, I think it was a good decision. We're going to take our time. We're going to find a name that best fits what we're trying to do. And we're going to go from there. So I'm excited for the new name. So, guys, speaking of the new name, I've seen players like Chase Young and Dwayne Haskins, Ryan Kerrigan, Jonathan Allen, De'Aaron Payne. They love the new uniforms. And I've been seeing a lot of players post the new uniforms talking about 2020. So they're excited about the season. And it's kind of great that we have gotten the name thing behind us for now so we can focus on football, which is the most important thing at this point in time. Yes, I'm sad to see the name go, but it's gone. What else can we do right now? We can't really do anything. It's a new era. There's going to be a new name. No matter what we pick, there's always going to be a portion of the fan base that is pissed off, mad, angry. I get it. I'm going to miss the Redskins name, but it's gone. And, we're moving in a whole new, different direction. Now, let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about the rookies. I've been seeing everybody's rookies in the NFL get signed, and it was starting to piss me off because I'm like, how come the Redskins are not signing players? Well, the rule is if you don't pay, people won't play. So, because of the COVID and everything, a lot of the players just really got into town this week. So this week, with my own eyes, I've seen Chase Young get signed. I've seen Antonio Gibson get signed. I've seen Sadiq Charles get signed. I've seen Antonio Gandy Golden get signed. I've seen Keith Ishmael get signed. I've seen Khalik Hudson get signed. I'm not sure about Cameron Carl, but I believe that James Smith Williams was supposed to either sign today. Maybe he signed today or he's going to sign Friday. So John Kim said that pretty much they expect all of the rookies to be signed by Friday. So if there's anybody who has not been signed, they will sign Friday. So that's a good thing. Now, we have our rookies signed. They're going to get started with the rookie camp. I know that there's a limit to how many players can be in the building at one time. Somebody asked me about Thaddeus Moss. They said, what happens with Thaddeus Moss? Does he make the 80, 90-man roster? Yes. The 80, 90-man roster is like a camp thing. It's going to be cut down to obviously 52, and I think they're extending it to maybe 54. So They're definitely going to be extending the practice squad. So you'll have players that can flip from the practice squad to the big team and then back to the practice squad. Because with COVID coming, there's going to be players who get it. Okay. We seen in baseball today, Juan Soto, he was tested positive, so he couldn't play in opening day. COVID is real. You see what the NBA is doing. They're really being careful in that bubble. So with the NFL, people are asking about replacement players. I think that there's going to be a system to where the NFL would allow teams to expand rosters, but most importantly, expand the practice squad. So that way you can already have players that are in your system, players that know your playbook, players that are, learning the offense and the defense and everything else. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens this season, especially not having a preseason. Last year we were able to, find Steven Sims Jr. I've talked about this in a previous pod. Not having a preseason is really going to affect a lot of things for not just the Redskins players, but for players all around the league. There are going to be some undrafted gems that go unsigned or that don't make teams that get discovered next year, maybe once COVID is under control. So you're going to see some players come out of nowhere. And then with there being no preseason, these first 4 games this year is pretty much going to be like the preseason. You're going to see teams struggle. You're going to see teams trying to work on chemistry things with game speed. So it's going to be really interesting to see these low-tier rookies, these rookies that were drafted in the 7th round, to see, do they make the team? Do you put some of these 7th rounders on a practice squad? What happens with the undrafted free agents? What happens to guys like Thaddeus Moss? I've seen people say Dwayne Haskins should not be starting because he doesn't know the playbook. That's just stupid. They're saying start Kyle Allen. Start Kyle Allen for what? Dwayne Haskins is the quarterback, so you go with the quarterback. If he doesn't know the playbook, well, he's going to learn it as he goes. Ron Rivera said that we're not going to chase cheap wins, and this year is about developing our young core and seeing what we have, because some of these young guys are going to have some pretty big roles this next season in 2021. So with all the money that we have to spend on free agents, if some of the corners, some of the young corners that we have step up, if some of the young receivers step up, then there's not a need to bring in vets, because then you're going to go with your young core. You're going to keep drafting and, doing things of that nature. So I don't see people being affected one way or the other without preseason, because during these practices and during these camps, that's when you have time to display what you can do. So a lot of these young guys and even young players that are, in their second years or third years, whether you know the playbook or not, I mean, it's go time. Week 1 is coming. Once week 1 is here, you're getting into the game and you're going to have to literally learn on the fly. So I'm just glad that all of our rookies have gotten signed, and I'm excited to see these guys on the field. I'm excited to see Chase Young in training camp. I'm wishing and hoping that there's a way that we can see what's happening in camp virtually, even if it's just highlights, even if somebody's just, taking some, like some film on some of the practice and some of the, I want to see Chase Young go against, Sadeed Charles. I want to see Chase Young go against, some of the veterans, once camp starts and all that, and all of that. So I'm excited that football is coming. I hope we have a season. I hope we have a full season, because it can be a way that they say, you know what, we're going to cut the season from 17 games to 10 games, or from 17 games to 12. That's a possibility. Okay. But things are looking up. NFL is trying to put things into play that would keep players safe, kind of like not having any preseason games. I get it, but then I feel for the players that need preseason games. So it's going to be a very interesting season, to say the least. So, guys, let's switch gears and talk Redskins running backs for a moment. I had a chat with Darius Geis via Twitter a couple days ago, and everybody wanted to know what was said between the two of us. I'm not going to reveal too much of the conversation, but just know that Darius Geis is going to have a crazy, amazing season this year. If you play fantasy football, go and trade for Darius Geis. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say about what we chatted about. Just expect a focused and motivated Darius Geis this season. I'm expecting a very big season from this guy, and he's going to shock a lot of people. I know people talk about the injury, but everyone gets injured. I mean, injuries are something that you cannot control, but he's putting himself in a position to be as healthy as he can this season. He's been working out. He's been strengthening his body. So we'll see what happens, but I'm expecting a big season from Darius Geis. Now, everybody knows that Scott Turner's offense involves targets in terms of receiving targets for the running backs. When Scott Turner was in Carolina, Christian McCaffrey was targeted 11.8 times per game. Now, I understand that it's Christian McCaffrey. I'm not comparing the running backs that the Redskins have to Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey is a different animal, but he was targeted 11.8 times per game. He caught about 10.3 receptions a game, and that was 90.3 yards. So that's a lot of targets for running backs. Now, these targets are going to be split into all the running backs that we have. So I'm not saying that we're going to have a back who catches 11 or 10 passes, 10 or 11 passes a game, or is targeted 10 or 11 times a game. What I am saying is the running back position is going to be targeted heavily. Okay. Now, I've talked about the running backs that I expect to be on the team. Geis, Adrian Peterson, Bryce Love. But people have been asking me about Bryce Love. People have been asking me, people that play fantasy, they're trying to find information on Bryce Love. And I have not heard anything. I don't know if he's healthy. I haven't heard anything, but I hope he's healthy. And if he's not healthy, he's going to start the season on a pub, which, gives us roster space to use some of the guys that are healthy. So between all the running backs that we have, including J.D. McKissick, if he makes the team, that's a lot of running backs. I don't know how many running backs are going to be playing a game. I don't know who's a third down running back. I know we drafted Antonio Gibson, and then you hear Rivera comparing him to Christian McCaffrey. He's not saying that he is a Christian McCaffrey. He's saying that he's a Christian McCaffrey-like player. He has Christian McCaffrey-like skill set, especially in the receiving game. So that's what Ron means when he says, when he's comparing CMC to Antonio Gibson. So with all the running backs that we have, just expect them to be involved in the passing game. A lot of running backs don't play on third downs because they can't block. But, I don't know what Antonio Gibson's blocking looks like. And I don't even know if he's going to be catching passes out of the backfield. So he can play the slot. I mean, there's different ways that the players are going to be used. I just thought it was interesting just to talk about the running backs for a minute, because people are asking questions about guys like Bryce Love and what are the roles going to be. I think Adrian Peterson is still going to get a nice sizable role. Don't be shocked if you see Adrian Peterson getting a lot of goal line carries, a lot of vultures. So for those who play fantasy, guys can get them down to the 1 yard line, and don't be surprised if you see AP. I see the team keeping Geis as fresh as possible and giving AP some work, because AP wants to play, and AP is going to make the team. He's a guy that's going to make the team, and he's a guy that is going to help the team. We all know that when you put a line in front of AP, he does work. I mean, he's just a monster in his own right. So the running back position is going to be very interesting. We'll see what happens with Peyton Barber, which I don't think makes the team. J.D. McKissick, he's on the outside looking in my opinion, because you draft a guy like Gibson and you're classifying him as a running back. So, J.D. McKissick, former receiver, Gibson, a running back that can play receiver. So then it's like, do these guys play some receiver because Kelvin Harmon is injured for the season? So all these questions are going to be answered pretty much after camp, when we start to define roles and there's an updated depth chart. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with the running back position. So, guys, something exciting that happened today was, or yesterday, was that the Redskins players were able to report for a camp, and it was just pretty awesome seeing Ron Rivera interact with Chase Young for the first time. At least that I'm seeing the two of them in person. Ron interacting with Dwayne Haskins and the rest of the players. He's giving everybody like a little elbow tap, because of COVID and everything, and everybody is like mask, wearing like their mask and covering their noses and all that stuff. So it was just pretty cool just seeing players together in person. Matt Ioannidis, out there talking with like the D line, Ron Rivera, and I even saw Alex Smith. Alex Smith out there walking around. That's just good, good vibes. Now that we can kind of like start focusing on football. I saw Brandon Sheriff in the building. Darius Geis is out there. Players are getting acclimated with each other. Rookies, Isaiah Wright, a promising young wide receiver that's trying to make the team. Kyle Allen. I mean, it was just pretty cool just seeing these pictures and seeing, players interact. It's just something that's awesome, that's needed. Reuben Foster, we always forget about him because of the injury. We don't know what's going to happen, but if Reuben Foster is healthy this season, it's going to be awesome. Oh, looking through these pictures, man, here's Bryce Love. Remember, I just said that I didn't see anything. I haven't heard anything. I see him walking. I see him walking, man. He looks healthy, but let's see what happens during camp, man. Ronald Darby was in the building. Just players just all over were in the building. So it was just pretty cool to see, rookies arriving for the first time, meeting the coaches. And, we also see players getting tested in the medical tents, which is very important because we have to make sure that the players are safe. So I think that we're going to take every precaution to keep the players safe. We'll kind of see what the practices look like. We're going to see what the drills look like. But it was just pretty awesome to just see players report and get ready for camp. So guys, I want to dive into 5 players to kind of focus on or look at during training camp while this camp is going on. Number 1 on the list is Antonio Gandy Golden. So with Kelvin Harmon being down, and it seems like we might not sign another veteran wide receiver. It's not a must that we sign one. We don't know what happens with Cody Latimer, but with Antonio Gandy Golden, he's going to be that big body receiver, that big physical receiver that Scott and Ron and Kyle envisioned when they drafted this guy. They're going to use him. He has good speed. He has, good size. He plays fast. I say because the game speed is different from, that 40 speed. That 40 speed means nothing if you can't use it on the field. So he's a guy that's definitely going to be used in the red zone and in short yardage in certain situations. And he's going to be that guy that complements Terry McLaurin and Steven Sims Jr. If you play Dynasty Fantasy Football, you definitely want to buy Antonio Gandy Golden. He's going real cheap. You buy him, you keep him, you stash him, and you kind of see if he has upside this season. But we all know that he's going to be a player that is going to grow each and every single year. I've been seeing people in fantasy also grab Steven Sims Jr. because obviously Dwayne Haskins has to throw to somebody. Terry McLaurin is going to get his 10 targets a game. But outside of the other, 20 to 25 targets, where is it going to go? Yeah, I see Dwayne Haskins having at least 32 pass attempts a game. That's just my opinion. I know people are saying that we're going to be a running team, but hopefully we're winning games, because when you're not winning games and you got to pass more than 30 something times. So I think it's going to be a balanced attack. Maybe we run the ball close to 30 times and we pass the ball close to 30 times. We'll see what the future holds, but definitely keep an eye on Antonio Gandy Golden because he can definitely start the season in that number 2 wide receiver spot. So that's going to be interesting. Ryan Anderson, you always hear Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio saying that they're going to find a home for Ryan Anderson. They're going to see how he's going to fit in this new 4-3 defense. They do like his unique skill set. He had a great season the back half of the season last year. And even guys like Landon Collins said that, he should have had 10 sacks. Jonathan Allen is, he's praising Anderson, saying that he's primed for a very big year. You hear guys on the radio saying that he's working hard. We're gonna see what Jack Del Rio does with Ryan Anderson. I'm excited to kind of see, because is he gonna play the Sam? Is he gonna play some D end? We'll see. Right now we're just speculating. We're having fun with our speculations and our, all this stuff. We're just trying to figure out what's going to happen. Number 3 on the list, I have Antonio Gibson. If you've seen highlights of this guy at Memphis, he is electric. He actually went off on my boy Porkman, because Porkman, he's my guy. He does Dynasty Rewind, and we recorded a pod on my other podcast yesterday. And he was telling me about a tweet that he put out, and Antonio Gibson lit him up, because Antonio Gibson is like, when you put the ball in my hand, I'm electric. He had over 1,100 scrimmage yards, 12 touchdowns in his senior year. And that's big. Some people say, well, he didn't play a lot of good teams. Well, talent is talent. And we're going to really find out what he's made of. He, pretty much lined up more as a wide receiver, but he did rush for 369 yards, averaging 11 yards per carry. I know the college game and the NFL game is different, so it's going to be pretty interesting to see how he's used, because he's like roughly around 228 pounds. He might have like slimmed down to maybe 220. I'm not sure what his new weight is, but he's a big guy, being 6 feet tall and over 220 pounds. That's a solid guy, solid guy. So he's going to be, part of the running back group, like I've talked about before. And I'm just really intrigued to see how he's used. Number 4, I got Chase Young. Chase Young, obviously, our prized possession for our terrible season that we had. I think he has a great chance of winning Defensive Rookie of the Year honors this year. He's explosive. He's massive. He's very strong. And with him, with the other incredible pass rushers that we have on the team, he can really do something special this year. And he's going to help everybody. He's going to help Ryan Kerrigan. He's going to help Montez Sweat. He's going to help Allen. He's going to help everybody in that interior defensive line as well as outside. He's going to help guys that are blitzing off the edge. He's going to help the Sam. He's going to help the entire defense. And if Chase Young is as advertised, if Chase Young does what we think he's going to do, this defense can be very special. And at number 5, we have Dwayne Haskins, our leader, a guy that has trimmed some body fat. I think he's like 7% body fat now. He's dropped 11 pounds. He looks great. He looks ripped. So when you lose weight, naturally it makes you quicker. So you're going to see him on some bootlegs and some rollouts. You're going to see him on some options. I'm not saying he's going to be some Donovan McNabb type quarterback, but you're going to see a quicker, much exciting Dwayne Haskins. He's really working out. He's really working hard this summer, and I'm really liking what I'm seeing. For us to go to that next level, he's really got to be our leader, and I think he will. So I'm excited for the season, as always. Let's see what happens with training camp. I'm glad that the name issue is settled for now. Now we can focus on football. So thank you guys for tuning in, man. It's another great episode of the Back Row Redskins show. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at Back Row Redskins. And you guys be blessed. You guys be safe.